I think when enterprises think about their security strategies, I think there's really two things they have to consider. First is obviously a lot of services are moving to the cloud, and that introduces some new security issues as well. I mean, obviously we're moving services closer to the user, and that means threats can also be moving closer to the user as well. So I think because enterprises are facing more sophisticated and a greater number of threats, some of the enterprises are really looking towards service providers as partners to really help them secure their infrastructure. So this is really, I think, an important step because it really, for service providers, it opens up some new business opportunities, but also helps them leverage their cloud infrastructure that they're really currently deploying right now. So for enterprises, it provides them kind of a turnkey access to a DDoS managed services model, and for service providers, it allows them to introduce new services such as DDoS, cloud-based services, managed services. DDoS managed services are really basically an architecture. So again, it's cloud-based, software-based. So really what it does is allows service providers to create software-based tools that they can provide to the enterprise customers to help them mitigate the threat of DDoS attacks. This is important for a number of reasons. First of all, I think we have to go back and we have to look at the enterprises themselves. Enterprises can really vary based on size and business models. And because of that, they all have different requirements. So obviously smaller enterprises have different requirements than the largest enterprise in terms of the types of data that they store and where they store it. So basically what service providers can do is for each of these different types of enterprises, based on the requirements, they can create cloud-based and software-based turnkey managed services models that basically provide protection to the enterprises from DDoS attacks. So I recently collaborated with Radware, and we created a bottom-up build model to really try to quantify the savings, the costs, and the revenue streams that could be achieved by providing DDoS cloud-based managed services. And because these enterprises are different in size, what we did is in the model, we created two different scenarios. The first scenario we called on-demand, and this was really kind of a DDoS managed service model. It provided complete protection, but it really recognized that the smaller, medium enterprises had different requirements in terms of how they managed or how they looked at DDoS requirements. So this on-demand model, basically what it was is basically a way of looking at some of the paths or some of the streams coming into the small, medium enterprise to really provide some input into the potential for DDoS attacks. The other one we created was the always on, and this was targeted for the larger enterprises because really basically, again, because of the types of data they have, sort of the sensitivity that they have in storing data. What we did is we assumed that in this model, pretty much every path that came into the enterprise was basically checked and validated and basically looked at for potential DDoS attacks. So when we looked at the output from these two different scenarios in the model that we built, I think what was really important from my perspective was that even though they both had different CapEx or different initial CapEx requirements and they had different requirements in terms of cost to manage, what was really important, I think, from the service provider perspective is that both of them were pretty much CapEx neutral or even positive after the first year. So what I mean by that is when we deployed the initial requirements from a specific CapEx for those different types of services, based on the revenue streams and considering all the operational costs and SG&A costs, by the end of the first year, both of them were slightly positive revenue-wise, so they'd actually cover the cost of that in only 1 year. And obviously, over the next 5 years, they basically grew and created strong profits as well. We'll talk more about the actual revenue streams by year over a 5-year window in an upcoming webinar, but there's also a detailed version of the outputs for both of these scenarios in a white paper that I recently completed with Radware. For heavy reading, this is Principal Analyst Jim Hodges. Thank you.